But folks, joining me now, first on the show this evening, the newly elected president of SASCOC, Barry Hendricks. Barry, great to have you on the show. How are things with you?
Top class, JP. Good to be with you and with your viewership.
Before we begin, first of all, congratulations on your appointment as president of SASCOC.
Thank you so much, JP. Of course, with the support of the Western Cape Sports Confederation, we'd like to thank all the other members who voted the new board in and thank them for their trust.
Barry, let's start right at the beginning here, and I think a lot of our viewers will probably be fascinated to find out more about SASCOC and federations and districts and sport and all these things about sport in South Africa. So let's go back to the very basics here. For somebody that's watching the show now, please tell us, what is SASCOC?
SASCOC is the umbrella body for sport in South Africa. And in other words, all the 85 different types of sports that have been played are organized under national bodies such as football, rugby, cricket, tennis. They have all decided to come together to form this multi-coded structure called SASCOC, the South African Sports Confederation and Olympic Committee. Name will soon be changed to include the Paralympic name. So in essence, we try and represent and lobby for all these federations. We belong to a variety of international bodies: the International Olympic Committee, the International Paralympic Committee, the Commonwealth Games Federation, the World Games Federation, as well as the International School Sports Federation. So we represent those facets of sport as well. Our job is to liaise with various stakeholders, business, media, as well as government and the ministry, so that we can then together plan the way forward for sport in the country.
So is it a question of anybody can join SASCOC, or is there a process there, or who joins SASCOC? How do you become a member of SASCOC?
You become a member of SASCOC by becoming a member of one of the sports federations. And usually this is at club level. Let's take football, for example. You will join a football club. That club is affiliated to a local football organization, an LFA. Yeah. That LFA is affiliated to the province. That province is affiliated to SAFA, and SAFA is then affiliated to us. So we accept members who are part of, registered members who are part of our member federations.
And those federations, when we're talking about federation, the word federation, and I know we talk about it all the time here on the show, a federation is the mother body for that specific code. Is that the name of? Because we hear these different words. You hear things like unions and associations and federations, but at your level, it's a federation.
Yes, the SASCOC Constitution defines its members as national federations. Now, we have other associate members such as SASAPD, which is the disability, physical disability component. But by far and large, we define our members as national federations. Now, whether these federations have different names is another matter. For example, the South African Football Association and SARU, the South African Rugby Union. In essence, the union and association means the same thing, but when they join SASCOC, they are regarded as a national federation.
Barry, now, just from a kind of a hands-on point of view, what would one typically see SASCOC do on a day-to-day basis?
SASCOC has got a staff of over 20, and that staff have got a variety of responsibilities, such as liaison with the federations, liaison with government, team preparation. The preparation for the Paralympics and the Olympics are ongoing as we speak, and staff members take responsibility for that. We also have staff members dealing with member liaison, coaching, and a variety of other matters. For example, in my office, as the Office of the President, we have a personal assistant that deals with liaison with governments and with the IOC and OPC.
So if somebody from outside of South Africa, let's say on an international level, wants to come and, for lack of a better word, communicate or liaise with sport in South Africa, where would their first door be that they knock on? Would it be you first come to the SASCOC door and then maybe from there SASCOC refers you to the right place? I mean, where does that connection sit? Are we the face of sport in South Africa for the rest of the world?
It depends. If it has to do with these multi-coded events such as the Olympics, SASCOC would be the first port of call. But you must remember that even organizations like SAFA are directly affiliated to FIFA,
Okay.
to their own international bodies. And anything to do with football will go directly to football, South African Football Association. Anything to do with tennis will go to Tennis South Africa. So it depends on what sort of interaction and what sort of cooperation is needed or required, and then they'll go to the various structures.
So does SASCOC then also liaise and work with the federations themselves in terms of different rules or regulations or policies?
Correct. And there are a multitude of policies, but let's just take the one where a federation wants to run an international event in South Africa. What happens then is they first apply to their particular provincial entities, such as provincial government, as well as the provincial sports confederations. And then once we get that go-ahead from those bodies, they then apply to SASCOC to host international events. And SASCOC then forwards that to the Department of Sport for their go-ahead. So that sort of liaison takes place around issues such as that. And it also applies to international conferences. If it's a sports conference, SASCOC will definitely be one of the liaisons regarding that as well.
So you also mentioned there now another interesting word, provincial confederation. We have all these big words in sports, unions and federations and confederations, but what is a confederation? What is a provincial confederation?
Again, it's a name to denote. SASCOC is a confederation, meaning a conglomeration of various federations. Yeah. At provincial level, we have the same thing, where we have the Gauteng Sports Confederation, the Western Cape Province Sports Confederation, and Eastern Cape Sports Confederation, in each of the provinces, in fact. And it's simply a mini SASCOC at provincial level. Same philosophy of ensuring that we're trying to service our members, but at provincial level. Yeah.
Yeah. You talk about service the members. We know that over the years there are so many different components that SASCOC rolls out to help the federations and sport in South Africa, and you generally call them commissions that then roll out, or maybe that's one component. But tell us a little bit about the different commission structures that you have, because I think that our understanding is that that you would see mirror images of what happens at a national level will then roll down using the commission structures.
Yes. In order for SASCOC to operate effectively, each of the board members are assigned specific portfolios. Those portfolios then assist us in ensuring that the policies that we have around those particular areas or aspects of SASCOC are carried out. In line with our policies, we also try and bring in specialists to serve on those particular commissions. So let's just run through some of those commissions. We have the Marketing Commission, the Ethics Commission, the Education and Culture Commission, the Finance Commission, the Audits Commission, and then we also have an independent body called the Judicial Body. And then if one goes back in time, some of the commissions haven't been operating as it should. For example, the Environment Commission, as well as the Sports for All Commission. Now, these are IOC commissions, and this year we intend to put those commissions into practice as well.
So, Barry, you talk about international events. I mean, we've had some tremendous success from a South African point of view, most notably, of course, more recently, winning the Rugby World Cup. But we've got a lot of talent in South Africa, a lot of talent winning medals, maybe not all at the Olympics, but across the world. That we've got a good talent coming out of South Africa.
Yes, and that talent is still largely untapped because our school sports structures are not as structured as it should be. And the delivery of players, talented players, coming through the ranks is not as fast and as of a higher enough standard as we would actually hope for. Yeah. So the vision is hopefully to work with the relevant stakeholders to get school sport played in all schools, not just in the Model C schools or the well-off schools, but in all schools, so that we can start identifying that talent. And that is one of the roles that SASCOC is going to entrench, working with the Department of Education and working with the Department of Sport and the Ministry to try and get that promise of reinvigorating school sport going again.
That's fantastic. Barry, just on that note, what is the role between SASCOC and government?
Government represents government. SASCOC represents civil society. So we are not a government structure. We get elected. Most of us are volunteers in the work that we do. And we liaise. Then government has a specific responsibility in law to ensure that it services that it services society, communities, and as civil society, we try and guide them to achieve their goals as well.
Am I right in saying that if you do sport in South Africa, you belong to a club? That's the place to start.
Yes. If you're going to start at school, some schools are affiliated to federations and are part of the school sports structure, such as squash. It has a schools component that runs over 120 tournaments every year across the country. But the best thing to do if you want to find yourself on a development pathway is to enter and register with a club. And then you will have access to the coaches, you'll have access to the development pathway, and hopefully I'll see you one day as a champion.
Barry, we're going to leave it at that. We're going to obviously hope that we get you on the show on a regular basis to find out how things are going there. We just obviously during these times say that stay safe out there. We know that it's COVID still, and best of luck for the foreseeable future, as we know that you're busy plotting the way forward for sport in South Africa.
Yes, JP, and so, thank you so much for the invitation. It's good to liaise and to link up with sports people across the country. And good luck with your show, and good luck with sport in the Western Cape.
There we go, folks. Barry Hendricks, newly elected president of SASCOC. Folks, that's of course just a short snapshot for you of SASCOC in South Africa. And of course, we're looking forward to catching up with Barry in the near future and find out more about SASCOC and the structures in South Africa and the federations and the clubs and the athlete and how it all works together. Folks, don't go away. When we come back from the break, we'll carry on talking about sport in the Western Cape. Back in a sec.